Lacuna.
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 Lacuna. I don't know it. It's in Latin.
Lacuna. Lacuna.
Lacuna.
Lacuna.
Lacuna.
Lacuna.
Lacuna.
Lacuna.
Lacuna.
You just see thousands of real monks wearing their gray robe and with no hair, right? They stay in the temples all day long, reading the language is not English, it's not Chinese, it's Indian, it's Sanskrit.
Sanskrit.
They read that all day long. We would not understand because it was like
And they had to keep it for really, really
yeah,
long.
but they understand. They read all day long. It's their practice. And I was watching them. They had a fan. Like in summer, it was so hot. It was like I read the Bible like this, and they had like electric fan under the table. And I found one young monk was wearing the Chinese army uniform.
I don't know. The whole idea of reincarnation can be regarded either metaphorically or literally. If you think of it metaphorically, you're saying that you're going to keep going through the circle of understanding until that point where you are enlightened.
Went to Hot Pot that day. That was, I think, one of the highlights of the trip for everyone. And the thing is, we ate so much that we were stuffed, and then we had the banquet right after, so.
So my favorite part was probably the Buddhist temple we visited because of how friendly and open the community was there and how it reminded me of like being with family. They just kept feeding us and they're like, eat more, you're hungry, even though we're about to go out to lunch. They were just so friendly and welcoming, even though we were strangers to them.
I think it went well. I mean, some people dropped out halfway through, but it was really fun because you got to like mix and
It was
add.
pretty good until the table fell down.
Oh, yeah, the
halfway
table did fall
through,
down.
we almost lost some cheese.
I'm Holly.
I'm Ellery.
And this is Holly and Ellery's cooking show. We've been renewed for a second season, so welcome back. So on Monday, we made some breakfast, omelets, crepes, French toast, and then in the afternoon we moved to a snack section. And right now we are making chicken 3 different ways. I repeat, 3 different ways. Sauteed, fried, baked. It's crazy.
We're creating set designs for an elementary school in Hartford, and we're going to present them to the school on Thursday. So this is the finished product of our bird, and then we have a second bird that's Gabby's making.
We were given 10 themes, so we're building a happy version of the theme and then a dark and dismal version.
So we're set design Lacuna, and this is one of our piece from the tent, and the topic of this is fish. So.
lights come up. I go boom. Well, no, hold on. It goes right, left, left. Then you start dancing. No.
Pressure.
I really don't have prior experience with dancing. I did it for a couple of years, but I stopped. I chose this Lacuna because I really enjoy dancing with my friends and because I love Mr. Hoop. He's such a good teacher.
I threw up last night. My head hurts. I haven't taken my temperature, but it feels like I have a fever. I feel really warm yesterday. Just kind of came on suddenly. Yes. Seems like everybody's sick right now. But definitely my best friend Sally is sick. She's really sick.
When you're sitting around, you're like puppies. You're all kind of piled on top of each other. So it's easy to spread stuff. Yeah, it's easy. But she's the only one that had the strep. The other girls all had the coughs, some fevers, runny nose, but they didn't have strep.
Okay.
They did not have strep. We had one who had migraines, but she has diagnosed migraines. That's Libby.
I think we have like the timeline and the sickness figured out.
Okay.
Yeah, we do too. We have the patient zero, but we still need
I want to be
an
sure.
extra information.
Okay, so why don't I give you a little bit more time?
Okay, so I'm doing the coral reef, and so everything that I'm using, I'm not going to throw anything out, so the scraps I'm using as like part of the coral reef, and it's going from really colorful and alive to like dead, so black and white, and the thing that's bringing the death is a turtle that's entirely made out of garbage, because garbage is obviously man-made, and it's humans who are killing the reef, so it's all symbolic. It's the turtle of death. Proud of us, girl. Thanks.
I'm working on a self-portrait of myself. And here is it. And to challenge myself, like to do something that I have never tried before.
We're facilitating a conversation around the hashtag #MeToo movement around sexual assault and abuse.
I'm watching Friends and looking for examples of heteronormativity and homophobia.
Have you found anything?
Yeah, I'm only on the first episode and I found like 10.
people of lower income groups and people that are of color or minorities experience lots of inequalities in healthcare.
Butter, butter, I can hear my butter. Butter, please pour out of this buttermilk in the barrel. Butter, 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 please turn into butter, 'cause I don't like milk.
So this Lacuna class has been, we called it Historical Cooking, Crafts, and Beyond. And we wanted to give the students a taste of what it might have felt like to be a child in the colonial era. And so most of it was hands-on, doing kitchen crafts and other kinds of crafts, but we also tried to sort of get inside the minds of a child at the time. We started it with activating the students' ideas about what it's like to be a kid nowadays, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do. And then we compared it to what children in those times would have been allowed to do / not allowed to do. We looked at some primary sources like manner books, rules about what children are, they were allowed to do back then and what they were definitely forbidden from doing, things like, crossing their legs or looking in the eye to an adult, right, or laughing or doing anything but having just a cheerful countenance. Then we did a bunch of different crafts. We made preserves, we canned strawberries, and the students were able to get a real sense of the whole process and why it was important to can back then, and the idea that you couldn't get fresh fruits and vegetables all year round. We made cornbread, and we had the students grind corn with a mortar and pestle. We made butter, we churned butter ourselves, and the students last night when we were at the banquet, they said, oh my goodness, the butter now is not nearly as good as the butter we made it ourselves, because of course that was super fresh and soft and creamy. We also made soap from scratch, and we made candles. We used beeswax and we dipped candles. And yesterday we went on a tour of colonial Simsbury. So that was what we were trying to do together.
An escape room tasks a team of 5 to 10 individuals to work together to solve a mission.
Why am I looking at myself?
Along the way, they're logic puzzles.
So this has numbers. Only numbers. Also has. This one has. Look at this one. Only has numbers. Go back to the club.
They're puzzles of all variety, locks, and other tasks to complete.
The way they tell 6. So they put it
61.
No, it's something 30. Is this actually 31 seconds? 31.
Involves teamwork, involves communication.
All tell time across the pond.
Pond. It's in.
Wait, so it's not across the pond. Well, no, because they tell time. European time. They do time. Okay, then what are we doing?
Involves logical puzzle solving and reasoning.
Yeah. And then what's the second 31. One? That's the minute. That's no, because that's the second one. The first one is this one. 17 is 19.
Involves analytical skills of all kinds.
Wait, did you guys see this? It says check the picture. What that picture? Oh. What?
And then for our class, we visit an escape room. We talk about the theory behind escape room.
Try waist, ankle.
Waist? No.
Yeah, something with these.
Is it
are the
have
key.
to do with this wait, N-A-E-L-O.
Oh, do that, Julie.
What?
N-A-E-O-L.
It's a student-led course where the students then construct their own escape rooms
I don't know what these are.
Well, there's arrows in here that match that. Look.
Oh.
Where?
If you look at them in the water, they go backwards.
Oh.
I don't know if that has any significance to the.
Of course it does.
Test them, test them, test them, test them, test them.
One. There. Woo!
Alright, so
Yeah.
this one might be 182. Oh, there's
Yeah.
another one.
Oh my God. Scissors.
Oh, that's good. Okay. I don't.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so let's cut through the lock.
And then open them up for the rest of the campus community to try and escape from, or solve the puzzle, or complete whatever mission they have been tasked with.
Done. I'm totally letting them do it. I'm going to have a really big idea at the very end.
I'm researching all the things that I'm wearing and the food and the products that I use to like wash my face this morning to see if they're fair trade or how good or bad their companies are, like with environment or labor policies or their manufacturing conditions. Fair trade means that everyone along every step of the supply chain, which like so starting from, let's say it's clothes, starting from the gathering of the materials all the way through the finished products, has equal pay so that they at least have decent living wages and good working conditions.
I like that they have gender-neutral kids' clothing on that. There's a website called Free to Be, and they sell all kids' clothes that don't have like slogans and stuff on them, where they'll sell something that's just entirely gender-neutral, or like instead of saying boys will be boys, it'll cross out the last boys and it says good humans, which I appreciate.
So we're gonna go to 10,000 Villages in West Hartford, which is like a fair trade store. So we're gonna look around there and see what they have, and then we might go to like other stores like CVS, for example, and try to find fair trade items in a normal everyday store.
While we're shopping, we're also going to take a look at our holiday lists and see if we've shopped fair trade in the past and how we're going to shop fair trade in the future and get a better look at it.
Corporation has to make as much of this product for as little as possible, as fast as they possibly can. And the people who do that are the laborers, and they have no power whatsoever, so they get squished and squished and squished.
And the reality with advertising is that it's very manipulative to the consumer, because you have these companies portraying this very happy and stable life of these clothes, but they're not actually showing what happened here and here, and so they're covering up with exploitation, and they're not really showing the reality of what actually happened to make these clothes.
And we proposed a solution, and the first thing is that we have to educate consumers on like the horrors that are going on in other countries.
Can you take off your shoes and tell me where they're made?
Okay.
Made in China.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can you take off your shoes and tell me where they're from?
Okay. They were made in China.
Can you take off your shoes and tell me where they're made?
In Vietnam.
Thank you.
I'm going to nitrate ammonium nitrate solution from the beaker to the ornament, followed by the sodium hydroxide solution really fast.
I'm in the Lacuna called Charm City, and we're watching the show The Wire, which is basically about like police brutality and drugs in inner cities, and specifically in the city of Baltimore. And we've talked about the cycle of poverty and the fact that it's harder for people living in inner cities, which are a lot of times mainly minorities, to get jobs. So then it kind of continues on, and then the education system is very poor in these inner cities, causing people to not get a good education, not get a good job, and then the cycle continues.
Where did that change start? Okay. And even before, right? This idea that we talked about, which is the history of things, saying it was in these areas when people were employed, not getting.
I feel like even though they're like feeling drugged, it's like you like sympathize so much with them.
About the effect that the HIV and AIDS crisis had during the 80s on not only the queer community but everybody as a whole. And we also talked a lot about the art response to that epidemic. Yeah, we went to New York on Tuesday and we saw at the AIDS Memorial in New York, which is this big structure, and it's in the middle of the city, and it's kind of in like a weird corner, but it's a really nice memorial. And then we went to this museum that had art by artists who may have had HIV or AIDS or were just a part of the queer community.
Yeah, for most of the artwork that we've been looking at, and most of the stuff we've been looking at, she hasn't been the culprit. And it's interesting because in the history of sexually transmitted diseases, certainly with syphilis and gonorrhea and all of that, it's always the woman is the carrier, whereas in a lot of the HIV imagery and AIDS imagery, the man is the carrier. So this was one that goes back to a much older tradition of making the woman responsible.
So my Lacuna was family tree, and I have really learned a lot about my ancestors and got to explore the different communities that they lived in back then and how their culture and how they immigrated to the Americas. I found that a lot of my ancestors came through Ellis Island, and we got to go on a ferry boat to Ellis Island in New York yesterday.
What I found surprising is that majority of my family I cannot find because they lived in Germany, so no website really tells me a lot about them. They all went back to Germany and then moved back again. It was weird.
Hey guys! We're here making raspberry chocolate bars! Woo.
So like a 3? I would say like a 2.5.
Oh, okay. How creamy is the chocolate? 4. Okay.
This one is not as creamy. Not as creamy.
Now you can put one in your mouth.
So hot in here. So smell it. Don't try and guess what it is, just smell it. How strong is the chocolate smell?
Creaminess. Oh yeah, creaminess.
A 4.
Okay, and then 4. Okay.
Good. Like it didn't like melt in my mouth. Didn't melt in my mouth. That stayed as a whole until I would chew it. So it's not necessarily. It was a 4.5. 4.5.
No, 4 or 5?
4.
Okay. Yes, nobody's perfect.
Oh, yeah. This one's creamy. Like I give that a 4. It's so creamy. It's like hard to get down the throat, but in a good way.
Choco Creations!
Here's to the school we love so well. Here's to our comrades true. Here's to the spirit of fellowship that guides us in all we do.
It was interesting.
Amazing.
It was productive.
It was stressful.
It was challenging.
It was complicated.
Here's to our many more happy hours. Here's to our dear sundial. In days to come we'll scatter far, but let us never forget a welcome here and friendly cheer are waiting for us yet. Though clouds may sometimes darkly bend, we'll strive with all our powers. Dear dial like thee in memory, to mark but golden hours. Dear dial like thee in memory.